Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today, Jeff? This is our final episode before we start season 3 next week with our division previews. So we thought we'd do a little mock draft again, this one being our first mock draft post free agency. So we have a lot of movement now and we can figure out, what we're thinking with these draft picks. And we're not going to mess around here, Jeff. We're going to get right into it. This draft starts in 30 seconds already. I have pick 3. You have pick 5. It's a 10-team standard league. Looks like we got one other person in the league with us, one other actual human person drafting here. So this is going to be interesting.
Shout out to
Sister Jean is in with us.
Jean Schmidt.
Yay. All right. So we're going to get this thing going. I got the 3rd pick. So the last time I got a little later in the first, I ended up with a wide receiver, which I hated how it turned out. So we're going to see which running back I'm going to go with here. All right. So Le'Veon Bell went 1. Todd Gurley went 2. So that puts me at 3. And to me, I think it's this is a no-brainer for me here.
Right. I assume the top 3, you have to go easy, correct?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be Zeke here. I'm going to pick him. It's weird to pass up David Johnson after how good he was 2 years ago, but you don't know the situation. So it's going to be Zeke for me here. We'll see who picks. Then Alvin Kamara went number 4.
Alvin Kamara, all right.
So you're up on the clock here.
And for me, this is kind of a no-brainer as well. You just talked about him, but David Johnson, how good he was. He hurt his wrist. It wasn't a leg thing. I choose him at number 5, which is great value. I did have the number 5 spot. I figured it would be interesting to find out what happens when you're kind of stuck in no man's land. And after I picked David Johnson, we had 2 wide receivers go. So DeAndre Hopkins and Antonio Brown, which should be no surprise as far as which wide receivers would come off the board first. And then following them, we have Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, if I could get Kareem Hunt at 8th, that's not a bad spot, I feel like. I think that's kind of a decent spot to pick him up at.
Yeah, I don't mind that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't be, too hurt by it.
No, Kareem Hunt, he's an interesting one because he did bring back, obviously, first-round value last year. It's just more about my perception of what's going to happen moving forward with the young quarterback. I think it's a very good pick. No issue with that. I think it's better probably to get a running back than a wide receiver.
But then it shows the wide receiver, or how you're up on the clock here. After Hunt went Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette at 10, Odell Beckham, Devontae Freeman, Dalvin Cook, LaShawn McCoy, Michael Thomas. Now you're up. Again, the running back's deep. If you're getting Dalvin Cook, LaShawn McCoy, Devontae Freeman in the second round as your second running backs, it's nice. I do enjoy that.
Yeah, and this is actually a very terrible position to be in. I could go Jordan Howard, but I'm not going to. And for this one, I'm going to go for actually taking AJ Green.
Yeah,
which
solid.
Is not exactly the guy I would want, but I think he's the safer option when you're talking about him, Julio, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen. So I kind of went for safety instead of the big bang. But obviously AJ Green's good year in, year out. And now Craig is up. So I went AJ Green. The next pick was Julio Jones. And now Craig is picking 20 seconds left. Who are you leaning towards?
Yeah, there are some good receivers there I like. But you know what? I'm going to go running back, and I'm going to get Jordan Howard to team up with Zeke.
Gotcha.
And I like the Zeke, Jordan Howard. I like that. And then after that, Keenan Allen went, Devontae Adams went, then Mark Ingram, Aaron Rodgers. So perfect. I like this spot because then I'm going to pick up a wide receiver 1 in Mike Evans. And I'm going to have Zeke, Jordan Howard, and then Mike Evans in the 3rd as my wide receiver 1. I like that. I'm very happy with how that turned out.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. That is very, very nice. And now
T.Y. Hilton went. So Jeff, you're up. Probably looking at a running back, but I don't know. This is the running back spot where it gets a little interesting.
Yeah, and I wish I had a little more time to actually look at how far down can I go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take I'm going to go with Joe Mixon, actually. So I'm extending myself, and this might be a little on the brave side, but I like what Mixon brings to the table. I think he'll be a lot better this year. So I'm taking a little bit of a risk, but it's a risk with a very high reward at the end if it turns out for me.
And then the draft moves quick here. You're up with the clock again.
I am. So go ahead and fill everyone in who went after me, and I will stare at who's left on the board.
Yeah, McCaffrey went, then Gronk, Kelsey, Adam Thielen, Jordy Nelson, Lamar Miller, Brandon Cooks, Carlos Hyde, Derrick Henry, Jay Ajayi. So Jeff, you're up. You got 2 running backs, one receiver. Got wide receivers left like Doug Baldwin, Tyreek Hill, Alshon, those guys out there. Running backs gets a little interesting. Marshawn Lynch, Alex Collins, nobody you really want. Kenyon Drake. It's probably looking like a wide receiver here. Going to be Tyreek Hill. Nice. That's probably who I think you'd go with that one.
It's kind of tough. I mean, when you're getting to this position right here, you're dealing with either they've been hurt and you haven't seen them a lot, or people that are in new situations like Tyreek Hill. But Tyreek Hill is just too much of an explosive player to be forgotten about. I think with Mahomes and his cannon, I think they're going to try to work him in more and more every time. So I think Tyreek Hill he might be up and down game to game, but I think he's relatively safe over the course of a year.
So I'm going to go with a wide receiver and go with Allen Robinson, the new Chicago Bear receiver.
And I saw him as well, and that's an interesting one. Do you think this is a good time to take him? Because we haven't seen him at all last year, and the year before that, he struggled.
I think he's just the clear-cut number one there. And, I mean, the other options would have been Stephon Diggs and like Jarvis Landry and Alshon, who went after. All solid players. I like Allen Robinson's upside a little bit more. I mean, I like Diggs a lot, but Thielen's always going to take away some of it. Diggs would have been my other option. I'm maybe expecting some good things from Diggs, but I think you're going to see a good increase with Trubisky this year, and Robinson will be a beneficiary.
You got about 10 seconds.
I will pick Saquon Barkley.
You son of a, you SOB.
Yep, got Barkley. He's going to be my flex, basically, at this point. So I'd be sitting there with Zeke, Jordan Howard. Yep, Barkley. I love that. You're up now. Evan Ingram went. So Zeke, Jordan Howard, Saquon Barkley are my running backs with Mike Evans, Allen Robinson. I'm loving my team right now. You're sitting with 2 running backs, 2 receivers, so you could go pretty much anything.
I know, I really can. This is actually tough. Dude, my team, okay. I'm just going to go for it.
That's probably what would have been my top guy on the board, Amari Cooper.
Yeah, so I went Amari Cooper, and I'm kind of gambling a little bit more than I usually would in the first 5 rounds between David Johnson, who was hurt, and though he's phenomenal. Joe Mixon, who's a little bit of an unproven commodity, and now Amari Cooper. But all these guys have insane ceilings, and I think I can get value on the way back in the second half of this draft. The people that went after me, though, Zach Ertz, I actually did look at that. I wasn't confident enough to pick that, but I think that's an interesting pick. Tight end, obviously. Then Josh Gordon, Des Bryant, and then we go QB, the third QB out, and that is Tom Brady this year. Then Larry Fitz after that, which is the tried and true guy. I'm not so sure about 5th round this time around for Fitz, but he's very safe. Then Alex Collins, Marshawn Lynch, Demaryius Thomas, Sammy Watkins, DeMarco Murray, and we're already back to me because this thing moves at the speed of light.
Dez, man, he might be released by the Cowboys. There's that rumor out there.
That's what I'm hearing. And just because, you know what? Screw it. Going fun. I'm going to go Deshaun Watson on this. First, because I had to pick extremely fast. And also because I do think he's supposed to be ahead of schedule, whatever that means for injuries. And he just lit it up so well last year that at the 6th round, I feel like that is not a whole lot to risk, and I might end up getting a prime time QB.
All right, so I can go different ways here. I'm going to go Michael Crabtree, actually.
Ooh. So I pick Amari Cooper, and now you're trying to shove it in my face. We're going to have this little back and forth all fake year if we actually were going to watch.
He's interesting. I don't know what to think being on Baltimore. He's clearly their number one. It's just we don't like Baltimore. We're not a really pro Baltimore Ravens podcast here. I think if people have been paying attention, just kind of they are. But maybe Crabtree changes that with a good number one. We'll see. But as my 3rd receiver, I kind of like it. Then Ty Montgomery went, Manuel Sanders, Greg Olsen, Hunter Henry. I got to sit and make a decision. You know what? My decision will be made with Kenyon Drake.
Dang it, man. You were okay. Both times now you've taken the running back I want.
Drake will be my fourth.
Now I'm staring down the barrel of this one, and it gets ugly pretty quick at this point. I really do need another running back. That is bad. Oh my gosh, that is so bad.
Like with Drake, yeah, Frank Gore's there now, but I'm not expecting Frank Gore to be anything more than maybe he'll take some touchdowns away. He could, but Kenyon Drake is a fourth running back. I can handle that one. That's a solid.
Oh my gosh, I'm starting to hate my draft. Yeah, so I'm going to go Doug Martin. He's in a new position. I know Lynch is there, and they have all this, but the way they talked about him, taking it, I'm not in love by any means with this, but at that point, I just needed a little security.
I think there's some upside for Martin here, though. I think he's better than Marshawn Lynch at this point.
I do too. I think it's going to be his job to win, but the reason I say I'm not so sure about it is because Doug Martin he's either hot or cold. Either he's the greatest looking running back of all time, or he just disappears. So I'm hoping it's the first one of those personas that shows up to the Oakland training camp and not the later.
No, I agree with that. You don't know what to expect from Doug Martin, but something about it I like. I'm going to pick him ahead of Marshawn. That's not how it went in this draft. Well, after Doug Martin, then we'll recap again. Golden Tate, Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Calvin Benjamin. To me, that's a reach. Delaney Walker, Jared Goff, Jordan Reed, Chris Hogan, CJ Anderson, Cam Newton. So everybody has a quarterback now but me, which I'm happy with. I'm okay with that.
All right. I mean, at this point, you could even wait a little longer then.
I definitely could now. And there's still Andrew Luck, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Matt Stafford, Carson Wentz. Yeah, I'm feeling okay. And Jeff's up again.
Oh, I'm glad you said that because I was playing around with all the and there's a lot of, I should wait, but now I'm running out of time. So there's a lot of wide receivers left. So I just picked Juju Smith-Schuster in the 8th round, and there's a handful of guys that are going to be very, very valuable down here, which is wonderful. Once again, wide receiver, always deep.
Yeah.
Won't say too much. Want to see what happens with Craig's pick. After me, Frank Gore went.
And then I'm going to take Corey Davis.
Well, yes, and I like that. It's upside, too, after you already have 3 guys. So might as well take a guy that might turn into something. And we both think that he will.
Definitely.
I want to downplay Corey Davis. I think he's one talented guy.
And I'm back up again. Let me think here. You know what? I'm going to, because at this point, I like my quarterback situation, as in I'll take whoever's left. I have 4 good running backs, I think. I have 4 good wide receivers. You know, I'm not too concerned about tight end yet because I think I got some guys I can get. I'm going to go with some upside. Get more running backs here. Darius Geis, the rookie.
Going for the rookie again.
We'll see what kind of position he goes in, if he's actually in a spot where he can start. But if I could get him as a 5th running back, and maybe he has breakout potential, I like it. Then Cooper Kupp went after that. So Jeff's back up again.
I'm back up, and I'm going to go for a guy that disappointed last year. I think he has an opportunity to jump back. I'm going to go Isaiah Crowell in the 9th, which I actually think that's pretty good value down there for him. So at this point, I have David Johnson and Joe Mixon, and then I have to build up some sort of stable in order to make sure I don't fall flat on my face and running back. So I got Doug Martin and Isaiah Crowell because I feel pretty decent about the wide receiving situation.
And then after that, Crowell went Abdullah, Devontae Parker, Martavis Bryant, Marvin Jones, Sterling Shepard, Rob Kelly, Andrew Luck, Dion Lewis, Duke Johnson, Jamison Crowder. Jeff's back up again. You can pretty much pick whatever you feel like at this point. I think there's one player you should pick here, though. If you don't, I will.
So now I'm just trying to make my way through all this. There's so many good wide receivers, and I'm running out of time, so I will end up with Corey Coleman.
All right, and then Samaje Perine went. So I'm up. I am going to... Coleman's going to be forgotten before we get... I think he's kind of the forgotten guy there, isn't he? Especially with Jarvis there now.
Yeah, I mean, tell you the truth, I think with Jarvis, he loses a little bit of his appeal. But once again, we haven't really gotten to see exactly what he can bring to the team. So I don't know. I guess it's more of an interesting one because I like doing that when we're doing these draft or mock drafts. I actually, my idea was not to pick Jimmy Graham, who Craig just picked. More just because I talked about how much I didn't want him because he was on Green Bay, or I didn't want to overpay for him. So I was just sticking to my guns.
This late, though, I like it. After that, went Robert Woods, LeGarrette Blount, Denver defense, Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, the only reason he's going this late is just because of you don't know what his injury situation is going to be. You don't. Right now, no one knows if he's going to be healthy for the start of the year or not. It's a tough situation to find out, and I'm going to run out of time. Oh, my. I'm going all upside. I picked Calvin Ridley, the wide receiver from Alabama.
all the rookies. How far down do you have to go on these lists to find them?
I don't know. I just typed their name. Got Devin Funchess went after. I know this is kind of, I'm honestly, this is a strategy I'm going to be probably looking to get this year. Once I set my team, I'm going to try to just load up on these guys, these rookies, because I always get rid of half my bench, most of my bench anyway. Why not take a chance on some rookies and see if they break out? I mean, I do that to a point, and we all do, but I think I'm going to go a little bit more. It might be a little more of a strategy for me this year. Rex Burkhead.
Yeah, so I'm going Burkhead. I think he's going to be the number one running back there. They use him a lot this year already. I think he's a great value pick in the 11th. And once again, just trying to build up the stable of running backs since I feel like I didn't have the two solid guys I really wanted right off the bat.
And then
it's just really going for the guys with the most upside.
Yeah, you're up again after Roethlisberger, went Rivers, Minnesota D, Gillislee, Derek Carr, Marquise Goodwin, Edelman, Kyle Rudolph, Deshaun Jackson, Jacksonville D.
I'm going to go big upside with this one, and this is a lovable guy from Craig, but Tyler Eifert. So at this point, it was so late in the game, I can take a chance at the 12th round with a guy that catches a lot of touchdowns. If he stays healthy, wonderful, I'm golden. If he doesn't, it doesn't absolutely kill me. So that was my thinking for the 12th round, picking my tight end finally in Tyler Eifert.
I'm going to go quarterback finally. I'm going to get Stafford here. He's going to be my late round guy.
Solid.
It was either him or Dak Prescott, which after how Dak struggled last year, I don't trust it. Stafford's going to be steady. So I'm going to go Stafford. Then Randall Cobb went. Then Dak did go. Will Fuller, Ted Ginn. I'm back up. We have, 3 rounds remaining? So this is my final round if I want to pick a position player. Or if I just want to go defense or kicker, one pick ahead of time. This is where it gets interesting. I'm just going to go Kansas City defense. Get some maybe, I don't know if they're any good. We'll see what they are. I just want to wait one more pick before I get my guy, so I can actually make a decision on who I want as my last position player. Seattle D went. Then you're up. You're in the same boat here. It's either kicker, defense, or your final position player.
Yeah.
It's an interesting spot because you just don't. There's good guys out there, but it's a tough decision to make.
Yeah, I think overall I'm going to go kicker. I think I stream defenses a lot more, so kicker I don't mind if I get a good one to stick with him for a while. So I got Gostkowski from New England. He's always obviously solid. After that, Terrell Pryor went. Then Cameron Meredith, who I actually was eyeing possibly for the last pick. Jameis Winston, which is great value, I think, this late. Dante Moncrief, Jack Doyle. Then a kicker, Justin Tucker. Philly defense, Greg Zerlin, another kicker. Houston defense, Matt Bryant. And back to me with 20 seconds to go. And now I can go defense, and I'm going to go the LA Rams.
Yeah. I mean, now they have Ndamukong Suh now. They're going to be interesting.
Yeah, so I think their defense will rise a bit. I mean, what were they taking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7th or 8th defense off the board. So obviously they're going to be a steep climb since they were so good last year too. I can't believe they're ranked this low, but still.
All right, my final position player, Sony Michel, the rookie from Georgia.
You're going rookie wild right now.
I am. I love it.
I do like Michel, though. I'm not a huge Geis guy. Darius Geis from LSU. I mean, he's a good college player, obviously, but I don't know. I just haven't seen his. I don't know. When I saw Michel play, and I was like, wow, like he can really do some interesting stuff. Obviously, Saquon Barkley. But Geis, I feel like whoever gets him, unless he's in that really good role, I feel like he's going to play second fiddle all year.
Yeah, I think Michel could be really good, especially I got him 5 rounds later than Geis. So
yeah, exactly. It's an interesting one. It's all about where they end up.
And I picked Matt Prater as my kicker.
And I like the computer picking Danny Woodhead, though. That as the last pick. I mean, it's an interesting one. And for the last pick, I'm going to take another flyer, if you will, on running back just to make sure I'm all sewed up. And I'm going to go Dante Foreman, who was a favorite of mine going into this year. He was just starting to turn the corner and he got injured. So I think he's an interesting pick.
So that ends the draft. And, I'm happy with this one, actually. I like how mine turned out. Might as well run it down here. I'll just see. My quarterback is Stafford, so he'll be my starting quarterback. I got running backs of Zeke, Jordan Howard are my 1-2. Saquon Barkley's my 3, which really he could end up being my 2 over Jordan Howard. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And then also picked Kenyon Drake, Darius Geis, Sony Michel, so I loaded up. Wide receiver wise, I went Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, Michael Crabtree, Corey Davis, Calvin Ridley. In tight end, went Jimmy Graham with defense and kicker as well. Got those guys, but I'm happy with the team I put. I like this one.
Yeah. I really, really like your team. I mean, Matthew Stafford is very, very solid, and you can always stream a quarterback. So, really, you have no weaknesses. And to be honest, too, I think you have very good wide receivers, but say if you have an injury or anything like that, it's much easier to pick up a wide receiver going down the stretch than a running back. And you are, when Kenyon Drake is going to be your 4th running back, you're in a really good position. Compared to mine, which I took a little risk and stuck in the middle, actually proved to be a little more tricky than I thought it was going to be. But starting off, quarterback, I have Deshaun Watson. Who knows, sophomore year, but he put up big numbers fantasy-wise. Then David Johnson, Joe Mixon as my starters. And then in my bench, I have Doug Martin, Isaiah Crowell, Burkhead, and Deontay Foreman, which I think one of those guys will turn out. And then AJ Green, Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Juju Smith-Schuster should do very, very well. And I have Corey Coleman to see what happens with him. And Tyler Eifert, which is a big question mark, but he could pay dividends. You just don't know.
And then I'm just looking at some of the guys that weren't drafted, so this will be interesting to see. See if there's anybody that interesting, that good out there. Not really. I mean, Kenny Galladay is going to be interesting to me. I think he's going to have a step up this year. And he's going to probably go undrafted or, close to it. Like Mike Williams from the Chargers, that's another one that he's going to be almost completely forgotten about this year. John Ross, too.
Actually, yeah. Let's say him and, was it Ross from Cincinnati?
Yep.
Aaron Jones, the running back from Green Bay, is an intriguing one for me, too. I know Montgomery is there, but, he kind of showed flashes of what he could do. So who knows?
Well, the Green Bay running back situation is going to have to sort itself out before we have any clue what to do with them. I have no idea.
Yeah. No, but I mean, if he's undrafted right now, the fact that you could pick him up in the 15th, if you have that hunch, where that's a lovely kind of guy to gamble on.
Well, and then Marlon Mack from Colts. I mean, at this point, is he going to be their starter?
Yeah, I mean, that guy, his stock, if they do not draft a running back, his stock will just skyrocket because he's the only guy in town.
Oh, it will. He should. If they don't draft somebody, he's going to jump. And I feel like this is a deep draft for most part, except for there's like the 4th, 5th round. There's a spot in there where I don't want, there's going to be running backs going like Derrick Henry and Lamar Miller, those kind of guys. I don't want them right now. I don't want Lamar Miller at all. And Derrick Henry just scares me now with Deion Lewis there. I don't know how much it's going to affect it, but I hate those middle rounds. But other than that, I feel like there's a lot of options this year.
Yeah, and I'm really, really interested to see how, obviously, the draft goes and kind of hear the rumor mill start churning, because there are quite a few guys left out here that will easily make it their way into the, top 15 rounds. It's not like you're looking down the barrel of a gun. Even tight end, which I believe is very, very scarce. But at the same time, you have some interesting guys out here. Obviously, Eric Ebron is going to be in Indianapolis. You have O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate. Neither of them were drafted. I know they're kind of, eating into each other's production, but at the same time, both very good tight ends. And O.J. Howard obviously having that huge upside. David Njoku, now that they have a decent, quarterback, he might actually be able to take that next step. I don't know. I think that there is a lot of things to like. I think you can actually play around with your team. So the big one is to make sure you get the top end players to make sure you buoy your team. And then I think you really can take some risk going down in the later rounds, and kind of, go with your gut, because there's a ton of stuff that could happen still. I think it's going to be a fun draft year.
I think so too. And a lot of just interesting players, a lot of new situations. It's going to be, I just got a draft grade. I set up a thing so I could see my draft grade. And they hated my team. They put me at the worst team in the thing.
What?
It's just because they're not ranking
because rookies you have so many rookies.
they're not ranking the rookies. They put you as the 9th, Jeff. You're the second worst.
That's hurtful.
I don't trust it. But no, it was just another fun, interesting thing to do here. I mean, this mock is going to have little to do probably with how it looks when we get going here. Things will change.
Just out of curiosity, who was the number 1 team?
It put it as, let me see here, team number 1. What's team number 1?
So let's see who they have. Oh my, really?
Right. So you don't trust it, do you? I don't trust it, because that's a team with.
I wonder if not having 2 quarterbacks hurt us.
Oh yeah,
every other team has.
That's probably true how they do these things, because that team ended up with Bell and Ingram as the 2, which is fine. With Devontae Adams, Jarvis Landry, it's okay. It's just not nothing that I don't like that team that much.
No,
I don't trust draft grades. I think we got good teams, but
no, as we found out year after year.
Well, all right, I think that'll do it. When next week, start of season 3, Jeff, got our division previews. We're gonna probably talk about every single fantasy relevant player. So it'll be a lot more fun when we actually look at the depth charts and see what we think about every situation and what they need. It's going to be interesting. Don't really know what we're going to see yet, what we're going to think, but maybe some players will stand out that we weren't thinking about. So good to go through that. I think we will then talk to you guys next week.